right people to stay with us? And are we having the resources for them to be willing to stay with us? And so in supporting Jeff, I'd have to say that he's right. There's an assessment period that's being done, I guess, by all of us in regards to what is the maximum capacity and productivity of an individual based on that. So we had a lot of transitions going on back and forth previously, but with Jeff's support, we're now going, okay, this is what you do, I want you to be good at it, and increase that productivity. And so we're going back into that mechanism for, at least for commercial right now, we're inundated because of the record protest, but we're actually doing a little bit better productivity-wise compared to the previous 2 years. So it's hard to answer a question when we're in that transition period and looking at maximizing the efficiency of every employee. We're lucky that we have a lot of the new employees that are coming in are very articulate, they're hardworking, they're dedicated, and that has a lot to do with support from the board. But it's hard to give you a number because it's a process that we're trying to get into. A lot of the ones that we have, I think, they're very productive, but can't tell you where we're gonna be because again, we don't know what the future's gonna hold.
And we have, there's processes and software we have that we're not even using. I mean, the protest forms, for example, in the beginning, they were entering in protest forms manually, which one person can do 100 a day. Well, we have a program through Harris Govern that automatically scans them and creates the protest. You just got to go back in and put notes, and by the next day, we were loading 12 to 1,300 protests a day. So, I mean, it's just, I think there's other things we can utilize to help be more productive as well.
So to me, I kind of see two different, as far as, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, it's either we hold on the 5, we take them out of the budget this time, we really strive to backfill those that are already approved if necessary, or we keep them in, and then
The only other
leverage
thing
if necessary.
I thought of is if you really wanted maybe kind of like a safety net, if you cut half of them, if you only approved an appraiser, a customer service, and a data entry, that gives you a little bit of an option, but it's not going to full max as to what was presented in the budget.
And I think that's where I would lean, that's where I was kind of going. Are you looking for the office assistant or the data entry?
So the office assistant, we never cut from this.
Okay.
That's been in there.
So, yeah,
That's a need.
what are the, I'm with you, what are the ones that you absolutely feel like in your heart, like you really need them?
So,
And then maybe add one, like there's your safety net, is an extra.
so I'm going to speak up on this, that we absolutely need an office assistant, which is why we did not even put it into.
Oh, that's,
Yeah,
we're not
we're
talking about
beyond
that,
that.
that's.
Oh, okay, I
We're talking about
thought that's
addition.
what she was saying.
We're talking about the 5 on the table.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend cutting the education down to 34,000. There'll be plenty there.
Sure.
Let me
Disability.
catch you with that. All of us.
Yeah.
So you wanna take that to from 52 to 34?
Which
Yes.
is what it was last year.
Yes, and when looking at that last year, we still had about $7,500 left over that we didn't use in education, so there should be plenty there. We can cut the short-term disability, that's something we haven't offered. I know you all have made comments in past board meetings that we have a ton of PTO that employees can accrue, that maybe some of that accommodates for not having short-term disability. I'd recommend cutting the 2 senior appraisers and, well, 1 senior in the PC, you're right, and a data entry in the PC.
Hold on, let me catch you up, so you wanna count?
So that's gonna leave you with an appraiser,
Yes, sir.
office, customer service,
Customer service and more
one data entry.
Yes, sir.
And we could always just fill those as needed if we got to a point during this assessment period that the administration determined that we didn't actually need those positions, we could just not fill them.
Or if we could get it approved by L2 later on, if we feel that the data entry is really working out, we could switch that customer service to another data entry and go that route. Use them how we need them, I guess I should say.
Or even the appraiser position.
Yeah.
Even the appraiser position, if we're light on
think the board had mentioned before about kind of moving more into the data entry clerk and support.
Yeah.
Instead of going with the higher salary and going in that, but that's, the board had already mentioned something like that.
Correct.
Alright, so we're gonna do away with 43. Tell me if I'm wrong, we're gonna do away with 43. We're gonna do away with. Let's see, 25, is that correct?
What? I'm sorry.
Numbers, in our budget, I'm looking at.
The employee count. So in our, I got it, so 43 is a data entry staff, that's, and then 40, let's see.
So we're keeping, as I'm looking, keep 42, which is a new data entry, and do away with 43, which is
Yeah.
also a new data entry, correct?
That's correct, and then 38 is technically one that's budgeted for, oh no, we're not getting rid of that one. Sorry.
No, we're keeping 38.
It's 14, right?
It's gonna be the
And
senior.
we're gonna get rid of 25, which is a regular, just a staff appraiser.
No, we were gonna get rid of.
We're keeping that one.
No, we're keeping the senior appraiser. I'm sorry.
No,
You tell us.
Didn't you say appraiser or keep appraiser?
Appraiser we're gonna keep, get rid of the C.
So we would cut item 14 and 43.
Okay,
Short-term disability would have to be just cut on every single employee, yeah, across the board, which we can do, obviously. And then, the education would just be
Okay.
putting that number down.
So 2 positions.
We'd be cutting 2 positions,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
Yes, so we would be asking for a total of 4 new positions for the 2023 years. One data entry, one customer service, one appraiser, and one office
Yes,
assistant.
correct.
well, the office assistant was 2022, right?
No, it's a 2023 position.
I thought we, okay.
Anybody doing quick?
Pam would like it to be a 2022 position.
So, what's the easiest way to make this motion? Omission of these?
See if I can
If,
get a quick-
if you want,
You wanna take a break and we can adjust it, give you a total new number and a total new increase?
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
We
I'd
can
like to
even-
see the number.
I don't know if y'all plan on going into executive session, but we could actually do it during the executive session so that we can actually have a good opportunity to make sure all the math and formulas are correct and we're not missing anything. That's entirely up to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be good with that. We've got,
Yeah, we got a couple of agenda
I don't
items.
think it'd be too difficult.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
so we wanna table it for
Yes,
a moment?
yeah, we will table agenda item number 11. Alright, that takes us to agenda item number 12, which is discussion and possible action for a policy for disposition of litigation filed against the Comal Appraisal District.
So I guess this is a policy that y'all have typed up, limiting the chief appraiser on decisions made that are under litigation, limiting it to $10 million.
Right, the idea was that, actually it was a draft by Mr. Sweeney as a starting point recommendation. It was something that we put together as a way to give more flexibility, you know, without constant board oversight.
Sure.
And movement, in order to really focus in on, expediting some of the litigation pieces. If it's not something that you, in your current position, feel like you should move forward with, we can wait.
No, I'm okay with it. Yeah, just clarification, because the way it states is the district, so it says up to $10 million in value without seeking. It's not value of the property, it's $10 million of reduction off of that's the only clarification. But I have no issue with it.
And is that common language and values? I know we've had a discussion before, but just,
I don't think anything's common. I can tell you in practice that a lot of boards give chief appraisers even more latitude than that. I only know 2 boards, or at least I've only worked for 2 boards that wanted absolutely everything, every stick brought to them. one of them's in very near neighbor of yours, but, most boards just de facto defer to the chief appraiser. But by the book, that's not right. You have that authority and you need to spell it out to the chief appraiser if you want to delegate it.
And just for background, we felt like this would help reduce our legal fees because we weren't going back and forth.
Right, we could act faster.
And we could act more quickly, which also helps.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Now that we've rediscussed it, I'm still.
And you may want to make it more than 10. I don't know, that's just your call. That's an administrative.
I think that was a good middle ground at the time.
Yep.
Feel comfortable with. Eric, any comments? No? Okay. Everybody feel comfortable? I guess we will make a slight revision in value reduction, right, without.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Anybody wanna make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the policy for disposition of litigation filed against the Comal Appraisal District as presented, or as modified.
Correct. I second that.
Motion by Bill, and second by Nancy. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, and then our live streaming, agenda item number 13, develop live streaming board meetings. Mr. Dowd, we're looking at that from last time.
Yes, sir, thank you. So I just put some notes on a piece of paper here that should be in all of y'all's packets regarding the live streaming. I don't have an example to show you of what that's gonna look like. I mean, it would essentially be through Zoom and then it would be streamed to YouTube via YouTube account. The county is using something similar, not for their commissioners' boards meetings, but for some things to do with elections and things that they're required to have live streaming in regards to election actions. I was talking to Shelby Parker, who's the assistant director of IT over there. And so they obviously use a different thing for their commissioners' boards, but they do utilize this as an option for other pieces of live streaming. I mean, as far as logistics, we could easily put a link on our board of directors meetings page that's a static link that people can go to. They can subscribe through anything that YouTube, or if we choose to do it via Facebook. I don't know what all the features are within those separate areas, but I know you can subscribe on YouTube, they can subscribe to our channel, and once live streaming, they get a notification that a board meeting is streaming or something like that. The main challenges that I see is regarding executive session, okay? Just as a reference, Comal County leaves their stream going and they completely exit the board, okay? And they leave the people who are seated publicly and the live stream active, and they actually leave to conduct their executive session and then they come back. I list out 3 different options for the pros and cons that are in here. I'll go over real quick with you. The first one is that board members leave the room and leave the stream active. The pro to this is that there's no chance that the executive session is captured and that the public does not have to relocate out of the boardroom. The cons are that it may be inconvenient and that really do we have a space large enough to relocate the board to, and anybody who would be presenting during executive session to accommodate that. So I'm not sure that we have a space to do that option. Option 2 is that we actually completely kill the live stream and reactivate it. The obvious approach to this is that you don't have to relocate, and there's, again, no chance that the executive session is captured. The cons to that is that the public will still have to relocate, as well as people watching the live stream will really have to monitor when that live stream comes back on after executive session.
Unless you're subscribed to the channel, then you get a notification.
Yeah, okay, there you go, then yes you would. So, but if somebody is just following the link and just watching it, depending on how long the executive session is, they would have to constantly be checking in to see if it's active again. So and the third one is that we completely leave the live stream active. We just AV mute it, like what I did here when it went out to the board, or when it went out to the lobby. So
that is always can result in the possibility of human error and some of the executive session being captured in either part or whole, whether it's audio or video. I mean, there are things that, you know, you can put it up on the screen, you can see that it's muted, you can see that the video is muted, but those are just different options for that. I mean,
What would we gain by live streaming? Truly, what would we gain? I've thought about this a lot.
I know that, Ms. Hoy mentioned that she's gotten some feedback from it. People who normally wouldn't show up to a hearing would have the ability to, you know, at least view and be able to see exactly what's going on. I mean, they can read the minutes, but,
So-
you know, watching it.
So if we recorded it and posted it, not live stream, but put it on our website of our last meeting, then we have full control over it without, you know, having to worry about where we relocate or anything else. We can turn it on, turn it off as we go. Because I don't know that I see a benefit from somebody watching it live at that time or watching it 2 hours later or the next day or whatever.
Yeah. The only thing about actually posting the entire video on our website would just be storage requirements. You know, when we have a very long meeting, you're gonna post a video, and depending on the history that you're gonna keep, you know, our cloud storage with whatever vendor we're using for those purposes, which would either be Harris Government or BIS, we would be having large quantities of video on there. Now, to your point, I mean, the audio files are much smaller. We could always, assuming that we don't have a technical glitch, we could always post the audio files on, and they could listen to it.
But you could post the video to, the recorded video to YouTube, to your YouTube account.
I'm sure you can. I mean, I know people say videos on YouTube. I've never done it. But I'm sure that is an option, obviously.
It's obvious, like, I'm in favor of this, I'm a big proponent, for a handful of reasons. I mean, the county does it, the city council does it, I don't know about school districts, I don't think they do, but I think they should. I think that, especially in the environment we're in, with the values, I spend every waking day trying to educate people and correct them, and so I think for the sake of transparency, I do think that the live stream is the way to go. I just, that's where I am, I mean,
Do you think the live stream, or would it recorded that's posted the next day or that night, or?
I think in my opinion, I kinda think the live stream, because you get, if you have a YouTube account and you stream it through YouTube, I believe there's an option, either there's an option or it automatically records it, and then it posts it to your page where somebody can either watch it live or they can watch it recorded. And then you can post the link to your YouTube page on your webpage that doesn't take up, you know,
It's all.
half a terabyte of
Yeah.
video.
And we have a great taxpayer liaison officer that can get that word out that we have a YouTube channel.
For the sake of transparency, I'm in favor of the live stream. I do think the school districts are doing it now.
Are they?
Yeah, if I may. I mean, I like it for the school, I like it recorded for the school districts. It's always a long meeting. If you wanna find something, if it's recorded, you just can fast forward through stuff you don't wanna listen to and get to the point that you wanna listen to. And, I mean, I like the recorded idea. Now, if you could do both, I guess that'd be great, but, the recorded for me as a user for long meetings, cause it allows me to go through it and get to it.
But you said, Douglas, on YouTube that it would be live, and then it saves to the channel, so that you have the history there to go back and reference all of the past board meetings.
I know it can't, I'm not,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
but I know we do it in church.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
We can archive them after a year, and then if somebody wants them.
Sure,
we
I
can
highly doubt there's a
access them.
retention
Archive the
schedule
live
that's
stream.
required for something like that, but certainly, again, in the name of transparency, so people can access it.
Yeah.
Pull it up, go to a certain highlight. I know I reference the Comal County ones quite often, the commissioner's courts meeting.
Right. The school districts do the same thing, they've got them historically, so you can go back and
Yeah.
look.
Yep, and my recommendation would be, Ryan, your second is that you absolutely 100% kill it.
Yeah.
And then you
Totally.
bring it back.
Yeah,
That's,
absolutely,
yeah, I think that's,
absolutely.
there's nowhere else for us to go, and if we need information from Mr. Sweeney, or we need information from you guys, we want to take a session, this is the logical place to do it in here.
Sure.
So, that's just my opinion.
Yep.
I just wanna give the board options.
Yeah,
And
no.
I understand that other CADs, if y'all talk to other CADs that aren't doing this yet, of comparable size, but I think it's really a leadership move to show, hey, I mean, I think when they find it out, I think they'll follow suit, not that we care that they do, but I think we can be a leader on this issue, but I know the county, I know y'all do as well, the people out in Old Verde, Spring Branch, they're incredibly active, they're incredibly involved, and they wanna know, they wanna be in the know, and I don't disagree with you with having it, I mean, what is the true benefit of live versus the next day, but I think people want live, I mean, they wanna see things happening, and I think, especially given that our meetings start at 5:30, that's when people are getting off work, maybe they're cooking dinner with the kids or whatever, but they can follow along as it goes and feel like they're part of it.
I don't agree with you. I agree with Bob. The last thing I'd wanna do is sit there and watch a live stream for 4 hours to try to find the information. I wanna go back after it's done and find that 5 minutes I'm looking for.
You can do both.
Yeah,
You
well,
can do it live
yeah.
and then
Right.
it'll
But I
record.
do think a lot of the people that were here today that come across the county, I do think they're the ones that would watch it live. I do think our public, our taxpayers
I think
would
I
watch it
would
live.
too. I'll tell you just a quick personal experience, when we were in the middle of COVID, and I was watching the Travis County Commissioners Court every day to wait and see if they had a decision about whether they're gonna cancel the Austin Stock Show and Rodeo, because it affected my kids. And every day I watched the live stream, because I was engaged and had interest in what they were, and the decision was coming out. People that have that same interest and engagement in our meetings, I think they would watch the live stream.
So does it require any additional equipment or expenses besides just time and effort?
So we already have the Zoom licenses, and I mean, the YouTube accounts are free. I would recommend us purchasing, I basically transplant this setup to stream out to the board from another room. I mean, but this is not an exorbitant cost. I mean, it's probably about $400 to $500 to get another setup like this, and I mean,
Yeah, I think we need to, and if we're gonna do it, we need to invest in a good microphone that picks up, an omnidirectional microphone that picks up.
These are actually really good microphones,
Yeah.
but those aren't recording, it's only this one, so y'all are kinda far away from them to, if we had another one in the middle, it'd probably pick up everybody.
yeah, we could definitely, but Shure is a very good audio brand as far as, and these are omnidirectional microphones. We can definitely look at configuration setups to try to make sure that it's not just this one microphone, and we can capture it well enough, so.
Okay.
I will make a motion, to develop the live streaming of the board meetings and implementing that.
And I'll second it.
Motion by Kristen. Second by Brad. Okay.
And there's no, reach out to you on this, since you're our video guy over here.
We just pay you.
There's
Yeah.
not gonna be, you don't think there'd be a cost difference between doing both?
I don't think there would be if you went through YouTube, but, I'm no expert, I'm,
Well, you're the only one that's got the
well,
camera.
this is true, right.
Well, we live streamed our daughter's wedding
We-
and on YouTube.
We live stream, the Comal County Commissioners Court, it comes in handy, and there've been times when I've missed it, where I'm like, oh crap, it's been 3 days and they haven't put it on there yet, you know what I'm saying? So live stream is valuable, but also, having it recorded is, because not only can you, do the high-speed scrubbing or, the fast forward, but another great feature is, to be able to increase the playback speed, which I do all the time. Depending on the speaking speed of the speaker, I've doubled the speed or gone 1.75 or 1.5, and it saves a ton of time.
Maybe we need to change the language of the motion to read live stream and recorded version.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, alright,
Okay, I'll modify my motion, to develop the live streaming of the board meetings as well as, maintaining a record of those.
I'll second that.
Do you wanna put a date on your record retention timeline?
You'll need to get that approved by the State Archives Commission.
Okay. So just leave it open-ended?
No, you,
Well,
you
per
adopt
the
a policy and then get it approved,
Oh, okay.
whatever you wanna adopt a project.
Okay. Is there a best practice?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how long they keep it, but generally, you know, probably wanna keep them a matter of years.
We have resources, I know, especially with Commissioners Court, they could probably clarify how long they're keeping their meetings.
Okay. Okay, so no change in motion, so motion by Kristen, still second by Brad. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Make sure you wear powder, and, I'm gonna try to figure out how to make more hair come out.
Hey,
There's filters.
just back off now.
So come with the makeup lady.
That's an expensive.
All right, line item, agenda item number 14, action to approve line item transfers to the 2021 budget.
So these were, obviously, we've already done this once, but these were some invoices that we received after we did the last, line item transfers. We did send these out to the entities, to my knowledge, we got no negative response as far as these line item transfers. Our recommendation would be that the board approves them as presented.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Raise your right hand, motion carries. Okay, that brings us to executive session.
Bob, good to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you all, enjoy. It was fun, but it wasn't real fun.